So guys, if Pia Marco, the famous parenting coach, had to be a song, or if there was a song to describe her personality, I would pick I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. Here you go. And on that beat, let's get into the episode. Hi guys, and we're back on the monthly podcast of Business Beats. As you all know, I'm Shivani and I run 88 The Piano Academy, where we have close to 300 students. Today I have a really special and fun guest with me. This is Miss Pia Marker. She is a really famous parent coach, and today she's going to share all her deep and dark insights with all of us. So Pia, do you want to introduce yourself in 60 seconds? Like how would you introduce yourself?
Wow, 60 seconds. Okay, I'm going to try. So I am actually a special educator by training. I've done my master's in special education. I set up Mumbai's first school for children with learning disabilities in 2003. I've been a school principal for about 20 years. And I quit that 2 years ago to spend more time with my kids. But having always worked, and I know I need to keep myself intellectually stimulated or I'll drive my kids and husband crazy, I went back to school a few years ago and I've certified myself as a parent coach. And I have a private practice now where I work with parents, because I believe that when parents are on board, the kids flourish. So my goal is now to switch from children to parents. So that's about me. I hope I've done that in 60 seconds.
I think that was very concise.
I went as quick as I could.
Yeah. So, how has your own personal parenting journey been up to now? Like, I have a son and I just gave birth in 2023. You have 2 children. Share some insights with us. How has your journey been this far?
So, honestly, I don't think you know what kind of a parent you're going to be until you are a parent.
Sure.
I've always prided myself on being extremely practical as a person, but I think that once I had my kids, I surprised myself. I love nothing more than being with my children. They bring out the best in me, and I feel I'm the best version of myself with them. So I love being a mom more than anything else that I do. And just want to correct you, I have 3 kids. I have a son, I have a daughter, and I have a Shih Tzu. And he's my favorite of the 3 kids by far.
How old is your Shih Tzu then?
He's 5.5 years old.
So he is the baby of the family.
He's the best. He's the best marker that there is.
Marker family, are you guys listening?
They know.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions that will enlighten people on what to do, what not to do. So on that note, what are 3 things that you feel a parent should never say to their kid in any situation?
Never say to their kid. Okay, so I think that just on the top of my head right now, there are a lot of things we shouldn't be saying to our kids, but what comes to my mind right now is I told you so.
Okay.
Because that immediately puts you on the opposite side to the person, and you're already saying that I'm right and you're wrong, and parenting is a partnership. So I believe saying I told you so is something that you should avoid saying, even if you know better. Of course you know better, you're the adult.
And I also think it's so tempting to say that, right?
Yeah, so there are many other ways of telling your child that I told you so without saying those words, without making them feel alienated or separated from you in that sense that we're on opposite sides and I've won and you've lost, or I'm right and you're wrong.
No, I understand.
So I told you so is one of them. Another thing that doesn't come to my mind about what you shouldn't say but what you should say is you should often apologize to your child. Okay? So as parents, we tend to take our role very seriously in terms of we are the adult and you are the child. We don't respect the child as a person,
as an individual.
And sometimes we do say things thoughtlessly. We are under pressure, we are busy, whatever it is, but the child doesn't understand why we are coming from when we are being maybe snappy or rude or irritable. And if you have lost your cool and you know that your child didn't deserve it, and the trigger is something else, which often is the case, there's the most powerful thing you can do as a parent is go back and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I lost my cool. Because what you do there is you're teaching your child that it's okay to have a negative emotion, but it's important to kind of introspect, work through it, and make good on that, right? You can't just hurt somebody because you're in a bad space.
Sure.
That's another thing that I would often tell parents. And the other thing is enjoy your child. Okay, there is no perfect child. There is no perfect parent. There are a million perfect memories and moments through the day, 100 times a day. Recognize them and enjoy your kid for who he is. Don't try to compare your child to somebody else or what you think your child should be, because your child is just that. And if you embrace who your child is wholly, you're going to love the journey with your kid.
That is such nice food for thought. And on that note, we're just going to take a tiny break and move to our next section.
Sure.
Hi guys, so just popping in here to say hi and checking in. Let us know if you want to be part of the podcast in any way, on the mug, on any of our stuff, on the piano. We'll be creative. Let us know. Drop in an email to the email address down below. So we ask all of our guests to debunk a common myth, okay? So in your case, I'm just going to say things that you hear loosely a lot. And one of the things I've heard a lot is the most strict parents have the most perfect and meticulous and obedient kids. So what do you think of that? Is that necessarily how it is, or share your thoughts?
So honestly, my whole approach to parenting is extremely different. I don't believe that strictness works. I don't believe that unnecessary control works, because you have to recognize that you're with another human being and you cannot control another person, right? So if you can try to control somebody with strictness and fear, it's very short-lived. If you think of us as people, we get used to fear and you can motor past it. But if you partner with somebody, that's always better. So there are 3 types of parenting. There's autocratic, there's there's democratic parenting, there's permissive parenting, authoritative parenting, all sorts of parenting. And the best type of parenting is authoritative parenting, where you have a blend of discipline
as well as
and understanding, right? You can't just be strict, because if you're strict, your child is going to find a million ways to stay out of trouble with you and not going to know what's going on with them.
So 2 truths and a lie with Miss Pia Marker today. I'm going to say 3 sentences and you have to identify the lie. Because all of them sound quite similar, and truthful. So my 3 truths are: I started a music school 10 years ago. I once bought 8 pairs of shoes in 28 minutes. And the third one is, I fell off a horse when I was 10. Okay. So you have to spot the lie.
The lie is the shoes.
Oh yes, you're correct. How did you know that?
All right, so my 3 truths are: I work out every day. I fell off a horse 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I love to exercise.
Oh wow. Okay. This is difficult. You love to exercise? Is that the lie?
Yes, I hate exercising.
Okay, I definitely think this is the time where we talk about falling off horses a bit, right?
Yes.
So mine happened at the race course right here, because I was just too exhausted beyond a point and I couldn't tell my trainer. So I just
so you just toppled the horse? It was one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. So mine was not as maybe fun, and in your defense you were 10.
Yeah.
So we have a family home in Mathiran, and my husband loves to ride, and he had just about taught me how to ride a horse, and I had just finished a full gallop, and we were walking on horseback, and I was not really paying attention and holding on to the horse with my legs like I should have, because the horse was just walking. I was chatting with other friends who were on horses besides me, and my horse tripped. Literally tripped, and I fell off and I shattered my elbow.
Oh wow, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was, but my husband actually found it really funny. He tells it to everybody as a very funny story about me in pain with my broken elbow in Mathiran. But
was the horse okay?
That's what he says. It's like the poor horse couldn't take her weight anymore, so he kind of knocked her off. But yeah, luckily for me.
So we share that in common.
We share that in common. Yes.
So how can this, I'm sure you must be getting asked this question a lot, okay, Pia? So the question is, how can the parents prioritize their needs and also balance it out with the needs of their children?
So I think particularly in India, self-care is looked as being selfish.
Yeah.
But self-care is not selfish.
I think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, you cannot pour from an empty cup, and there are no prizes for going on and on without saying that you're tired. So yes, parenting can be tough, but you need to learn to balance it out. And there are a lot of tips I work with when I'm working with parents about their self-care. Because I feel that if you are not in the right mind space, you can't give to your child, and you have to give to your child, right? So tips for what you need to do before you ring that doorbell and enter after a long day of work, things of what you should do before your child comes home from school, things like that. You just balance it out so that you're in a better headspace when you're with your child.
So also I think continuing from where we were, I think in India especially, there's this whole thing like good parenting means that parents who don't make any mistakes, So there's a lot of unnecessary strictness and things like that kind of parents put on themselves. So what are your views on this?
So my view on that is that we haven't yet reached a point where we have AI generated parents. There are no perfect parents, and if you're going to hold yourself up to that standard, you're going to keep making mistakes.
For sure.
So it's absolutely okay to be real. It's very important to be a real parent and to show your child your human side. Your child doesn't need to see you as being this almighty being. Yes, you are the parent. Yes, you have a responsibility to nurture, guide, mold that child, but you're not infallible. And that's something we have to be comfortable with as people, forget as parents.
Of course. Do you want to share anything personal related to this question, like anything that happened with your children, or anything that you heard of and then how it changed over a period of time?
You're talking about in terms of like being a perfect parent?
Yeah, no, like just like a mistake or like a culturally called mistake.
So I think that's very important for us to respect who our children are at their very core. I have two children, they are completely opposite from each other. The two things I love most in the world are green chili and chocolate, and I always tell everybody I have them both. He's my sugar, she's my spice. And it's important for you to try to recognize the beauty in each one of those kids. And yes, of course, we are human. Sometimes, you fail at that. And you say things that you don't mean, or you're tough on a kid and you feel that, it happens. It happens to me as well. I mean, I do it as well. But I am very, very particular to the minute I realize I've messed up or I've said something I should not have, I apologize to my kid and I tell them where I'm coming from. And I ask them how I made them feel, and I definitely try to work on that for myself.
Of course. So is there anything you'd like to say to moms or parents who have like two very different children just like you?
Oh, you're always going to have two different children.
Yeah.
No, you're always going to have two different children. I don't think any parent has two children who are similar. They could be twins, they could be anything, but that's life, right? It's the funniness of life that you're the same parent but you'll have two completely different children. So you need to look at your children with a different lens, with equal love.
Sure.
But not necessarily equal treatment. So that's what actually brings in a lot of sibling rivalry. I tell a lot of parents, you don't have to equalize things. You've got to equalize the love, you've got to equalize the treatment, you've got to equalize the respect. But just because one child likes chocolate, I don't have to buy the chocolate for the other kid. The other kid may be into chewing gum. So as long as they both get a treat, it doesn't have to be equal.
Exactly.
Parents are trying very hard to make everything equal. And then you're, without realizing, bringing in competition among the kids. So you've got to see your children for who they are. Equal treatment, equal respect, equal love, but not equal things.
No, that's a really interesting perspective. I'm glad you shared this. Okay, so moving on, anything super interesting or crazy that you did in your 20s?
Oh dear. Okay, so if you're going all the way back to 20s, which is like almost now 30 years ago, I think what people don't know is I used to be a dancer. I used to dance on stage.
That's lovely.
I danced for a long time, and then I switched to special education, which came as a shock to everybody, including myself. I am a commerce graduate, so I've actually moved from so many different things, and I think that's something that parents need to know. I was supported by my parents, where I was allowed to explore who I was, and therefore I have reached where I have today. It's because of my love for the stage that I encourage my kids to be a part of the stage. Both of them sing beautifully, they play musical instruments, they are performers, and I know the value in the learning that comes from being on stage. You learn a lot of things, including patience, tolerance, being mindful, being inclusive, a whole lot of things that have come from the stage. The switch in my career, I would like to tell parents that your child will find themselves. Okay, if anyone from my school knows that I went into education and I was a school principal, they're going to laugh and say, oh my God, PR, impossible.
Yeah.
But you find your way, and what you need is your parents to support you. So please support your kids. They will find their way and they will thrive as long as you give them the right environment.
I can identify to a certain space. I mean, my kid is 1, but I rejoice in seeing him fulfill like the desires he has in his mind. It's a beautiful stage where they don't know like everything in the universe yet, but it's so explorative. I'm enjoying his curiosity and I'm really enjoying this journey being a parent. And even to like continue with what you said about like moving from different streams of education and things like that, I'm a commerce graduate. I did my MBA after that in marketing, and I was all set to work for this big corporate when music kind of took over my life. I've been playing since I was a really, really young child, and it's just one of those things where, you know, life just moves you in a particular spot that makes so much sense, you know, but you only realize that once you've kind of moved there.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so next question. What is Priya Marker's secret superpower?
Find a job or find a thing that you love and you never have to work a day in your life.
So, if you could swap lives with someone for a day, who would it be with? Like anybody on this planet.
Wow.
We can come back to it.
Am I allowed to say nobody actually?
Yeah.
No, nobody. I love my life.
Oh, that's amazing. I think I should ask this question to everybody to see if like there's anybody else on the show who also feels like this, but I think it's amazing. Okay, do you have like a morning routine that kind of helps you get into the day? What is Priya Marker's morning to midday kind of routine? How do you get started for the day? How do you like, you know, begin?
Okay, so I'm not as evolved a person as maybe I seem. I wake up, I set the alarm, I wake up my kids, and they were all like running around the house to get to that bus stop.
Okay.
And then I come back from the bus stop and I meet my husband and my dog on the morning walk. So that's my time with the 2 boys. That's husband and the favorite. So we do that, we come back, and then, I mean, literally, my husband and I maybe have a coffee, breakfast together, and he's off to work. And then I get into my sessions, I prepare for them. So honestly, there's no routine as such.
Yeah. I just think it is a kind of routine though. It's nice, it's beautiful. You meet everybody, you have like
time with everyone.
Yeah, one at a time, like, you know, one after the other. Multiple roles, multiple everything. It's a bit hurried, but I think it's the best start to the day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is what it is, right?
Yeah. Okay, so have you ever met any parent or child that really took you by surprise? So, for example, like the first time you met them, it was very different, and then suddenly someone did something or said something, or there was an evolution that took you by surprise. Any stories you want to share?
Oh, honestly, I've been meeting parents of all sorts of parents, I think, for the last 25 years in my career of being a special educator and a school principal. And I have to say that there are a lot of parents that you meet that, you know, you learn from. I've learned from a lot of parents, and I have to say that particularly the parents of children who have severe special needs, I think you learn the most from them, because, you know, you would think that a parent like that has so much going against them, but you find that those parents are the most positive.
Oh wow.
They are the parents who have that fight for their child, that is like they see their child as being perfect and they find ways to kind of make their child shine, and I wish every parent could see that, you know. So I think parents of children, of regular children, you know, we tend to take our kids for granted. And we don't really look at the things there. So I think that parents of children with special needs, that's wonderful actually. And you should learn from those kinds of parents.
That's so nice to hear. It's really heartwarming, you know. I think sometimes when you're in a really difficult situation, it just helps you to see the best out of it. And I'm sure that's similar in
And I think
cases.
I've learned a lot from parents like this. And I think the way I am as a parent today has a lot to do with the space I've worked in for the last 20 years.
Okay. I think it changes you, right, as a person. All the
it humbles you, it keeps you grateful, it keeps you real.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm grateful to all those parents for having crossed my path.
That's so lovely. Okay, 3 parenting trends that make you really happy or shocked or sad. Anything in specific you want to share?
Oh,
Something
so,
you really don't like, or something like a pet peeve, or just anything.
So honestly, I don't like it when parents raise their kids the way they were raised, and saying, you know what, oh, I was raised like this and I turned out fine. The fact that you're even saying that, you're not fine, right? Because you need to grow with the times. You need to evolve with the times. Like, we don't still use Blackberries, right? We moved to smartphones, etc. Because and our kids are like that, right? They are like technology in a way. Children are, every 10 years, the generation of children are very different from each other.
Sure.
And you can't parent the way you were raised, because that world does not exist anymore.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
You need to evolve and upgrade your skills as a parent to be a better parent to that child. Yes, you learn few things that your parents did for you, but you also need to be aware of the things that didn't work for you, and you cannot parent from that space.
Got it. Anything else that makes you really happy, or like a particular trend that you
I think
feel
the
like
new trend is about positive parenting or conscious parenting. That is, everybody's talking about it, and I'm glad that that's come in, because that's really the base of what I do. I believe that positive parenting or conscious mindful parenting is what we need. We probably have a long way for parents to kind of start actually imbibing those values.
That was going to be my next follow-up
but
question.
At least where I am, I'm a kind of a glass half full person. I'm glad people are at least talking about it.
Sure.
And if you want to learn about how to do those things, come to someone like me and I'm happy to teach you.
So also circling back, how did you move from the whole dance creative thing to students with special needs? Like, how did that whole transition happen?
Okay, so I think, like I tell everybody, I feel like I'm destiny's child. I think I was meant to be here because, like you said, they're very, very contrasting. I did dance through school and college, and then both my parents were in the corporate world, so I kind of went down commerce route thinking I would, follow in their footsteps. Did a couple of internships, and I didn't like anything that I was doing. Till my parents actually met a lady who was doing her master's in special education at a party because her kid had special needs. And they just told me, why don't you see what she's doing? It sounds interesting. And literally on a whim, I went up and I signed up for this course and didn't realize it was so rigorous. Didn't realize that they had only 30 seats all India.
Oh, wow.
And I was a commerce graduate. I don't know what I said or did that was right, but I got into the program, and
lovely.
The rest is history.
Okay, that's super interesting, and I think a lot of our viewers would be very interested in knowing how this whole transition kind of happened. But it's so nice that stuff worked out this way. We're moving on to the next part. So in this segment, we're going to be playing this game called Would You Rather, but with reason, right? Okay. So there is a caveat to it. So it can't be like too crazy also. So we can just put these here. All
right.
And if you'd like to start, you can, or I can take the first one, or however you want to do it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just like. So, okay, the first one says, would you rather want the chance to speak to your younger self or your future self? If you had a chance to do it all over again.
Oh gosh, it's a tough question, but okay. If I could speak to my younger self, I think I would say, don't worry about stuff, it all works out in the end. Because I think we tend to worry so much about the future, and having lived this far, I don't worry about the future because I know it all works out eventually. So I'd like to go back and tell my younger self
her down
not to worry.
Yeah. Okay, your turn.
Would you rather be a music teacher or a parent coach?
I mean, honestly, they both are lovely, but I think parenting and the coaching of parenting is a difficult job best left to the experts.
Okay.
So, this one says, would you rather speak 20 different languages or play 20 different musical instruments?
So I think I would rather speak the different languages. I've always been very, very poor at picking up languages, although my dad was great at it. I struggle through Hindi and Marathi, having lived in Bombay all my life. So I think picking up languages wouldn't be such a bad idea, considering the world has become a smaller place.
So
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah. What about you?
I would take the musical instruments thing. I always regretted not learning multiple instruments when I was younger, and I have been working on that a little bit since then because we have like the infrastructure.
So what instruments would you like to have learned?
Oh, I would have loved to do like maybe the guitar or the drums or whatever I got my hands on. Because what happens is once you learn one musical instrument, the bass is kind of the same. But today we have kids doing like 3 and 4 so easily at our space. So that's very motivating.
So I think now's the time as good as any, and this space is perfect for you to pick it up as well.
Yeah, for sure. Your turn.
Okay. Would you rather have your child be a musical genius or a scientist?
That's a tough one because I think both are equally interesting, but I think I'm a bit biased towards the music. I'll go for like musical genius.
Okay, so while you say that's a tough one, it's not a tough one for me at all. I'd go music all the way.
Okay.
Because I don't want to offend anyone who loves science, but to me science is predictable and
sure.
It's
it's calculative.
It's okay. But I think music is not something that everyone can do. So I would go with music too.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Would you rather have an endless supply of creative ideas but limited time, or plenty of time but a struggle to come up with good ideas? I think the first one.
Yeah,
right?
me too, the first one, because I think time is actually something that is quite fluid and you can make time.
It's malleable.
And we are great at working under pressure. So I think the creative ideas in little time, we could make that work for us.
But you need the nice ideas to like do stuff with, right?
And I think the minute you turn into a mom, time becomes something that is, even a minute is like a luxury. So,
oh my God, like
we're good.
I can't tell you how, like, time is just like you have 3 minutes and you have like 5 things to do. I think it's just always like that forever.
And after you figure out how you want to get more time, you'll do those 5 things in 3 minutes and still have 30 seconds to yourself. Trust me.
Oh wow. Positivity, I like it. Okay, so Pia, one last but really important question I wanted to ask you was, how does music sort of benefit a very young child? How does it, help their brain development, their personalities, just, their holistic development as a person, as their own individual? Can you, like, in a very concise way, share with our viewers like how they should go about it, maybe with some young mothers or people who are looking to put their kids into music, just share some light on this.
So I think music is something that you need to expose your child to when they are very young.
Okay.
Because music, is universal, right?
Sure.
And it actually triggers parts of the brain which are very, very important for your neural pathways to form, etc. So learning a musical instrument requires you to use your left brain and right brain.
Both, yeah.
And that's very important for that crossover to happen. So while parents put a lot of emphasis today, I've realized, on academic success, a lot of emphasis is not being given to creativity, and creativity is great to enhance the brain. The child's brain is developing rapidly, in the formative years. So I would say that by the time your child is 5, put an instrument in their hand, even if it means for them to just tinker around with it and to just enjoy the sounds that come out of it. Don't aim for perfection, but let your child be comfortable with it.
Okay.
So my kids started playing the piano when they were 5, and I think it's great.
Okay. Thanks for that. Okay, and on that beat, the last segment, pick an instrument of your choice and play it for us. It can be anything. You can just mess around with it.
Okay, so I think looking at what's available, I'll try the ukulele.
Okay. So guys, we've switched around our instruments because none of us wanted the uke. And now we have the djembe and the cajon. So we're just going to do a very random mash of things. Whenever you're ready.
Oh, I'm going first?
No, we just...
You're the professional. You go first. I'll follow you.
Okay. See? That was pretty cool.
Not bad.
Yeah.